cousins, we used to get together on Saturday. It was very interesting when the family gets together on happy occasions. And, on holidays, Sundays, we always used to get together.
Anything unusual happen to anybody in your family? Did any of them make a mark in history, or like you used to talk about your father used to be in the army because he was so tall. He was in.
Well, yeah, he used to tell stories about when he was in the army. He was telling stories when he became a prisoner.
Was that during World War I?
World War, yeah. Then he was a prisoner of Germany. They sent him to work on a farm in Germany, but it took him a year to find out that the war was over, because the people that employed him on the farm, they didn't want him to leave, so they never told him that the war was over.
Really? So how did he find out?
Well, I found out from other people. So it took him a long time. It took him more than a year until he got home after the war.
Huh.
Okay.
You done?
Okay. Do you remember any stories, jokes, riddles, home remedies, superstitions, or saying about either good or bad luck from your childhood?
Say that again, please.
Do you remember any stories, jokes, riddles, home remedies, superstitions, or sayings about
Okay, ask one thing at a time. Ask one at a time. Do you remember any
stories?
Well, you told us a few. You, okay, what else besides stories?
Jokes.
There was not a joking time. What's the next
Riddles. Home remedies.
Oh, yeah.
Bobcats.
Yes. Monkeys.
No, because I'm looking at what you gave me when I was in 7th grade. I'm
Yeah,
looking at the report.
When we used to get sick or have a cold, whatever, they used to give us blankets.
Hey, explain what bunkers are.
Bunkers.
They used to take a glass.
That was in my time. Your time.
Yeah, and take a piece of paper, light out a piece of paper and put it in the glass. Put the glass on your back. That was the remedy for...
But your grandma used
for
to
having
put it
cold.
on your back sideways, so that burning paper fell on the glass, not on your skin.
Yeah, I'm sure they did it then too.
Bobby always used to put it straight down like this. We were always burning up everywhere, the burn mark. But I used to put it on the side, and then, it stayed down.
I forgot to tell you about, we see in front of our, about a block away from our house, was a lake. On each side of the lake there were houses. And then wintertime, thinking it was a small lake, wintertime used to be so cold that it used to freeze out. And we used to go
Ice skating?
ice skating every winter.
Did y'all do it on ice skates, or did y'all just go running on the ice?
Ice skates.
Sliding around.
We made it, it was a piece out of
Ice skates.
piece of wood, and then put a piece of iron,
Iron.
and we used to ice skating. So we used to do a lot of wintertime. We used to do a lot. It was a lot of fun ice
I used to
skating.
go to
So how bad were the winters there?
It was 30 below the zero.
Celsius or Fahrenheit?
I'm gonna kill him.
It was Fahrenheit.
Okay.
Funny guy.
It's,
Superstitions.
No.
Saying about the
Your mother didn't have any superstitions?
what kind? Do I have superstition?
Many of them.
Like mention it, what superstition
When
is
you're being interviewed.
when I'm being interviewed?
any sayings about either good luck or bad luck from
Like,
your childhood.
lucky, something about luck or mazel or like the evil eye, you know,
You
evil,
have to be
bad
in the
things.
right place at the right time.
Asking out questions.
Well, I mean, just
I was
asking if
finished.
if you know it, remember any of these things from your youth.
Okay.
If you were ambitious, then luck was on your side. That's the way I would
Okay.
put it.
Thank you.
I was-
Well, what
yeah,
else?
I was
what
lucky.
el- yeah.
I was lucky that I was able to come to this country.
Luck was on your side.
Okay. You
I
have-
know it's hard, but can you tell us a little bit about your family? Your brothers and sisters, their names
Well, I had
in order.
I had three brothers.
Okay, you were the oldest.
I was the oldest. Number two was Usher.
Okay, Brian, you're named after.
Right.
That's who I'm named after.
Secret name.
I had a sister, Zipporah. And,
Mine is named after her.
Then I had a brother, Reuven.
Uncle Robert's named after him.
Then
So it's
you
three
had
brothers
another
and then-
brother, Zachariah.
Oh, it's 4 in a row? 4 boys in a row?
Two boys.
No, there were
There's you,
three.
Usher,
Sephora.
Ruvain. Oh, wait a minute.
Forgot about Sephora.
Zipporah was first.
Two, and
Usher was second.
Ruben, and
Then came Zipporah. Then came Reuven.
And then Zachariah,
Zachariah.
and Uncle Zach is named after.
And
But
the
that's
little
it's
girl.
Zwollen. That is Zwollen.
Zundel.
Yeah, Zundel.
Zundel.
Zwollen.
Yeah, Zachariah.
Zundel. Then when sister was born after I left.
Rachel.
Yeah, Rachel. Yeah, her name. Daddy didn't even know his sister.
Okay, I think that'll wrap it up.
Well, wait a minute. Let's see if there's anything else. Y'all want to ask anything?
Rachel went got out my interview.
I have everybody. I have both of yours.
Y'all have any questions you want to
I
ask
do.
Zayde?
Did you have a bar mitzvah then?
What was the bar mitzvah like there?
Well, yeah, they just they call it to the Torah.
And you said the prayer.
Said the prayer.
That's all.
Just the aliyah with the...
Just
with
the Aliyah, well, yeah. That's all. Or no.
No parties?
No. No. I mean, no saying.
Yes.
Not.
In your town it's different.
I mean, you didn't have to say the Torah. You didn't have to say.
No, but no, say
say-
something.
No.
Stop it. He wouldn't think about these things. The whole time was baking honey cake and.
That may have been traditional in your town.
Yeah, I mean, there was a
Don't
party
say it. I
at
know.
home. You used to.
Honey cakes and sponge cakes, and they had liquors, and they took it to shul, and then all the neighbors came all afternoon to give a mazel tov to the parents.
So did they have anything like that?
In shul, they didn't have anything. Was when you came home, you invited all the neighbors came over, and we had cake and
Like an open house where
wine, whiskey.
Daddy would have never think of things like that.
I would have asked them.
Okay. Any questions?
Brian sure wants to wrap it up fast.
I have some questions.
They,
Okay.
they,
Is it-
they're taping us.
If you wanted to like get in touch with a friend that moves away, how long would it take for you to get to like contact them?
In Europe, you're talking?
Yeah. Like
Well,
like here you can just
If you
call
need
them.
to write a letter,
Well,
I-
yeah, you had no way of
all my
you
friends,
had no telephone.
all my friends were in the city. They never went. They never left to another city.
okay, when you wrote your letter to your uncle, how long do you think it took before he received it? 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
About a month,
Probably about a month.
about 4 weeks, because I know we used to get from Margaret letters.
Your interview. Any more? Stop, Paul. Wait a minute, turn it off a minute. The order of your siblings, do you remember the age difference between them?
About 2 years.
Hurry,
Okay.
turn it off.
How did it feel when you came to the USA? Were you happy that you could do whatever you want? If you could do whatever
When
you
you
want?
came, you weren't aware of the Holocaust or of the future, what was going on, right? So tell us about the boat you came over on.
A boat.
Well, see, when I left the house to go to this country, my father took me to capital of Poland, Warsaw, and we had to go pass a physical test in the consulate. And the next day, we took a train. Probably took probably about half a day or so to get to the boat. It took us
How'd you get from your town to Warsaw?
by train. Well, we had to go to the next city. We took a bus from our town to the next city. In the next city, we caught a train that went to Warsaw. See, we didn't have any train to catch from our city, but the city about 20.
Caught.
About 20.
So that, okay, go ahead, keep talking.
I was able to catch a train, board a train, our train, took us straight to Warsaw.
What was the mode of transportation in your town?
My town,
Yeah, people, were there any,
you walked.
everybody
if
have
you
horses, buggies?
Yeah, if you had to go, say, along to the next city or the next village, you took the horse and
Would
buggy.
y'all borrowed it, or did y'all have your own?
No, we didn't have any. But, let's say, all the Gentiles, 99% of the Gentiles, they were farmers. And therefore they had a
For
horse
money, they
to,
did.
So they would lend them
Yeah.
out?
to work on the, for
They
agricultural
took
purposes, they had to have.
Right.
Okay, when you came to the USA, who'd you stay with?
I stayed with my uncle,
Uncle
New
Nathan?
York?
No,
first Uncle Nathan, and then
how many weeks? 2 weeks?
about a month, stayed a month with them. Then he had to take his wife to the, put in an institution. So then I went to Uncle Harry.
When did you start learning English?
I was learning English from the first day I came to this country.
Was it common for people to be in institutions?
Well, she was
She was mentally sick.
mentally
But,
over there.
so when you, So when you came here and you started learning English, yeah,
See, I came
they
here.
didn't, they weren't speaking Yiddish to you? They did, you know, there wasn't
They
just
spoke-
Yiddish?
Yeah, it was. It
So
was-
while you were with your Uncle Nathan, were you learning any English then? I mean,
No,
it
no.
can't be easy to learn English when you're in a household that speaks Yiddish.
That's right. So it was hard. Well, I went to school at night in the evening.
And then he worked in a grocery store with Uncle Larry. He learned from the customers.
See, I got a job 1 month. 1 month after I came to this country. My uncle found me a job in a factory.
A sweatshop,
No,
Pocket.
factory making pocketbooks.
and you were making pocketbooks?
Well, you do just part of it.
Right.
Each
So that's why
station.
I learned my more English in the shop working, and besides I went to school. Student school. The school was open. Evenings, I went to evening after coming from work. I went to night school.
What time of year did you come to the United States?
I came November 29, 1938.
That's when I was supposed to go to Israel in 39. No, I'm
Okay, so you worked in a factory for a while, and then
Yeah, I worked till I went to the army. Almost. Maybe.
And how long was
for a
that?
few- huh?
how long was that? How long were you in the United States before you went in the Army?
Well, I went to the army in December 7, 1942.
Okay, so in between that time,
So from 9. So,
I mean, you weren't even a citizen.
no, I became a citizen in the army.
Why did they take you in the Army if you weren't a citizen? It didn't matter
Well,
then?
It didn't matter.
That's what I remember.
What year did you get married?
That's a
Ask,
tough
ask your
question.
mother, ask your grandmother.
Oh, that's a tough question, Brian. You don't ask any questions like that.
Is it rude?
Huh?
No, it's not good.
Not rude, he just doesn't remember. But ask him how old was his pork chop, that you can remember.
What?
Pork chop. Or how much was his pork chop?
How much was your pork chops?
You eat pork chops?
He was selling it. Stop it, Rachel.
You can go back to Zayde, we'll ask him some more questions. Okay, so from 1939 to 1942, you lived with Uncle Harry. Now, Uncle Harry is Faggy's
Yes.
father. Well, they know Faggy, they don't know Rifka and Yankee.
Who's Yankee?
Their brother, Jack.
You lived with Faggy?
Yeah.
Where were their dad? Just she was there too.
And, you know,
Tommy?
and.
That was Uncle Harry,
That was
is their
a
father.
person in Florida.
Right, Faggy's
Freddy's mother
Aunt Rose.
and Rose was better to
Yeah, she was very
Daddy
nice.
than to her own children.
She used to feed me before she fed her children. See, because
They had only
they had a
3
grocery
chairs.
store, and right in back of the grocery store there was a small kitchen, just enough to put one chair and one
Two
table
chairs.
and 2 chairs. And they had a gas stove. So they were, the only time they ate upstairs during the holidays.
Did they not have a kitchen up there?
So when I came from work, so she gave me dinner, and then from there, after finished dinner, I went to school, night school.
See, Aunt Rose
So she was very good to me.
never much of a
When you
cook.
got sick, well, did they give you medicine?
Of course.
Sure.
Did they have hospitals back then?
We
Sure.
don't have us.
Where in his
Brian, it
small
wasn't
town?
that long ago.
No,
In
No,
Europe
we
or
didn't
here?
we didn't have a hospital, and I come from a
No,
bigger
you
city.
they didn't have any hospitals. We had that doctor, yeah, we had doctors, but you had to be very sick to get a doctor.
And your
Did the
Doctors
doctors
came to
come
your
to your house?
They came to the
Yeah.
house, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that's right, everybody.
Did they carry those little bags, like in the movies?
That's right.
They come with the sled winter time or somebody summertime.
Yeah, you never went to the doctor. Because you were
But-
too sick to go.
But
So
if
the doctor
if
had to
the
come.
if the doctors carry their bag, like how did you get your medicine? Because they couldn't carry every
Oh.
kind.
They used to
We had a drugstore.
we had one drugstore in our town.
Really?
Yeah. So
Did it also have milk and stuff like the drugstores
no,
now?
just
The milk came from the cow.
it was strictly
A drugstore.
strictly
A
drugs.
pharmacy.
Pharmacy.
Not a drugstore, a pharmacy.
That's the only thing. And he made out the
The
he made out of the medication. As a matter of fact, my mother used to buy all the ingredients, and she used to make her own. She used to make her own pills. I guess he must have told her how to do it, what to do. Just like you buy flour in the store to bake, when you get home you bake
Well,
it.
just like we buy medicine to keep in the house all the time.
But that medicine,
Can we go on? Sometime after
This is gonna keep you quiet eventually.
When you feel like Zayde.
You ruined
Okay.
Any more questions?
Any more questions? Sleepy Daddy, Paul, Rachel, Mom.
Okay? Good
Oh,
night.
why don't you tell us the date, Brian? What's today's date?
Oh, today's date.
Oh, should have started that way too. February 7th,
2/7/97.
1997. Okay, you turn off, Rich.
which was in January 1921.
Wait, what was it? What Tibet?
Schedisch, Teves.
Where's Chodesh?
Heaven.
I was born on Gimel Tevet. So I was born 2 days after.
It is
My birthday's 2 days
Rosh
after yours.
But when I applied for a visa, I had to give him he needed a birth certificate.
Right.
So my father went to the courthouse and tried to get a birth certificate. They didn't have my name there. I wasn't
You were born at
I
home.
wasn't born because
He
it was
wasn't
during
registered.
it was right after the war. Poland became an independent state in 1920, and there was no order, there was no government then. So that's why they didn't
You weren't
have
registered.
any records of
Right.
it. So my father figured it would be easier for me as a youngster to go to the United States if you're younger than being older. So he took out.
And you could leave the
So
So
country.
it had nothing to do with the boat that you were going on was mostly children, wasn't it?
No,
It wasn't?
grown,
No.
mostly grown-ups.
Oh.
I was supposed to go
Big
on
one.
Aliyah.
Did the boat you go on have the different levels? Like I've read about some levels where one level will be like first class,
No.
Sure.
and
Oh.
that's where all the rich people travel. No, not all boats were like this. And then the next level would be another class, and usually you found the immigrants down underneath, you know, in this
Probably maybe
later.
before the First World War.
Yeah.
It's
Now, do you remember
Tuesday,
what
Friday.
where you came in to New York? You didn't
New
come in.
York.
You didn't come into Ellis Island.
No,
No.
Where did you come into? What port?
New York. All my uncles were.
Brooklyn. You came into Brooklyn.
All my three uncles were. When I got off the ship, they were
There to
already
greet
waiting
you?
for me to.
Jay, didn't you come into Brooklyn? New York didn't have a harbor. Brooklyn had a harbor.
Brooklyn had a harbor in New York.
New York doesn't have a harbor. Because I remember when...
Brooklyn is New York.
Talk to the camera.
Brooklyn is New York anyway.
I know that. Because I remember when Bobby went to Israel in 1943, not 43, 48, I think it was 47, 48. We went to Brooklyn Harbor.
Grandma,
You're not mommy.
Bye. Okay, go back to Sadie.
Hi, we're back.
Anything else?
So you were talking about the ship.
Yeah.
So it took us 10 days to
That's all from Europe?
from Poland. It took us 10 days to travel to.
That's all? It doesn't seem like very much.
Mother was about 14 days, and she came from Lisbon.
You can tell us about that on your side.
So young about you.
Grandma just bit me.
Grandma.
So young about
Go check for rabies, Grandma.
we look how that it is.
Okay, anything else we can think of, Dad Zadie?
You know, the same ship was sunk by Germany a year later.
Do you remember the name of the ship?
Yeah, Pilsudski.
Yeah.
Pilsudski.
What did it name? Or is that named after a
That's
person?
was Pilsudski was the general after the war, 1919. Poland,
After the First
see,
World War.
Poland was under the occupation of Russia for about 200 years or more before the First World War started. Then when Russia lost the war in the First World War, then the communists took over the government. They killed the Tsar and they took over the government, but there was no order there in that time. They were fighting among themselves because the communists were fighting the army, and at that time Pilsudski was a general in the Russian army, but he was Polish. So he formed the army of the Polish soldiers, and they were fighting Russia. And at that time, the England, France, United States, they were helping Poland because they didn't want the communists to take over Russia. So they were sending in their own troops. Russia should not be able to fight the Polish. And he was the first president of the independent Polish state. For the first time in almost 300 years. Poland was overrun by Russia, Germany and Austria during the history about 3 times. Then they became independent again, and then 100 years later they were overrun again by Austria. Austria was a great power, certain 100 years before the war. So they always partitioned Poland between Russia and Austria